Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cryptid Studies Radio. We're glad that you decided to join us again. With me, as always, is my son, Elijah Henderson. Elijah, are you there? Are you having technical difficulties again this week?
I believe I'm here this time. Can you hear me?
Well, I surely can. I'm glad that you've got your bugs worked out. Well, Elijah, could you tell us a little bit about who our guest is tonight?
Our guest tonight, he is the administrator of the Bigfoot Dogman Info Library, also called BDIL, and on that group he provides online resources of the sounds, pictures, videos, documents, and they help to prove the existence of Bigfoot, Dogman, and he just got a lot of really interesting stuff on there, and we're going to have a discussion with him tonight over his research.
Well, I bet he's got a lot more than just those things going on.
Absolutely.
Well, whenever he gets ready, we'll bring him on. Is he on?
Yes, I'm going to bring him on right now. George,
hey guys,
brother, you there?
Doing?
How you doing, man? Thanks for being on the show with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Hello, George. This is our first interaction. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Been a long week, but we're still here at the end of it, so that's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
So, George, how long have you been in the cryptid research business?
I think I could say that I dove into probably Bigfoot first of all, probably around 2012 or so. My wife and I we got married around then, and one of our honeymoon trips was a Bigfoot outing. So that was kind of our first time going out on.
Well, that sounds like a great way to spend a honeymoon.
Yeah.
Absolutely, one of the best ways.
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, I wish I could time travel and go do that for mine. That would be epic.
Yeah, we had a good time. You know, we actually had some things happen too. The very first night and the next night as well. So it wasn't.
What kind of activity did you get?
The first night we went out, and there was a bunch of us. There was people from the BFRO, and we had a couple groups go out. It was at Salt Fork State Park in Ohio. If you're familiar with that, it's kind of a well-known Bigfoot area. And yeah, the first night we had a couple groups that went out. We actually were separated, my wife and I. And in the one group that I was in, we kind of were walking through a long field. You know, it was dark out, and we started hearing wood knocks. And it was, you know, kind of one of those eye-opening moments. Like, wow, this is really happening. Like you research it on the internet and hear people talk about it, but then you start hearing things, and you know, then it gets real. So that was that was our first. Yeah, and my wife, she was in the other group, and in her group, she heard she was kind of the same thing. It was nearby, but you know, not the exact same area, you know, within a few miles or 1 mile or so, and they heard loud, or not loud, but like heavy footsteps that were shaking the ground really close by, you know, within probably 20 feet or so. And yeah, her and the guy next to her, they were pretty scared. You know, people say, oh, there's bears at Salt Fork, and you know, maybe there are, but you know, I'm not sure that they make heavy footsteps nearby.
I ain't never had the ground shake because a bear was close by.
Yeah, that's what I said as well. So that was our first night. And
so what got you into actually being interested in Bigfoot?
You know, it was just kind of one of those things. Like nothing actually happened to me personally. I used to listen to Coast to Coast AM, you know, the radio show, and
oh yeah,
you know, they talk about Bigfoot, but I was kind of more, you know, listening about UFOs and ghosts and that kind of stuff. I didn't really pay too much attention to Bigfoot. But then, I don't know if you remember, there was this YouTube channel. I just kind of got hooked into it one day. It was called Facebook Find Bigfoot. And they had this countdown list, like this top 100 videos of Bigfoot. And I just started watching it one day, and I just got sucked in. And I thought, wow, is it really possible that all these, videos are just fakes and hoaxes? Because Rick Dyer, he was popular back then, and there was a lot of hoax stuff
that
going around.
made a lot of the people in the Bigfoot industry look bad.
Yeah, him and another guy, having fake bodies and all that kind of nonsense. So that's kind of like right when I started, but yeah, I just got hooked on that YouTube channel, and then just watching these videos, and then I said, hey, why don't we go, check this out at Salt Fork? They had on that. It's called Bigfoot Adventure Weekends that they still have today at Salt Fork. So yeah, that's how I got started.
And how did that evolve into an interest of the dogmen?
You know what? I kind of got lucky because on that, prior to going to that event, I was watching Scott Carpenter. I'm sure you're probably familiar with him. And he researches Bigfoot and Dogman down near probably where you guys are, in the Great Smoky Mountains. And he's got all kinds of innovative.
We're not far from there.
Yeah. So you guys, I'm sure, are familiar, but yeah, right then before we even went, I found his channel, and he was getting images of Dogman and Bigfoot on his channel back then. So I kind of knew about it at right around the same time, both of them. Although I wasn't totally into, I was more into Bigfoot, and I didn't really dive into Dogman until about 2016 when I started listening to Dogman Encounters radio. That's about when I really jumped into that, but I knew of it, back then.
The Dogman phenomenon seems to have really exploded over the last few years. It's almost like it's the most cited cryptid out there now.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just there's lots of Facebook groups and reports, and there's a pretty comprehensive map that it's Cloaked Hedgehog's Dogman map, and Phantoms and Monsters, they have a map too. So there are a lot of reports, and there's a lot of reports in Pennsylvania, near where I live as well, both on the east and the west side. So yeah, you're right. It's definitely growing.
I don't know why, for some reason, I thought you were from Kentucky.
No, I live near Pittsburgh, just east of Pittsburgh, western Pennsylvania.
So you get a whole lot of bizarre activity in your region then.
Oh, yeah, especially, there's plenty of books written about just all the weird things that happen in Pennsylvania. UFOs, Dogman, Bigfoot, there's all kinds of other, I've seen videos of little elf or gnome-looking guys not far from here. There's a kind of a famous, cryptid famous ridge line that runs through Pennsylvania that we actually did a documentary about, or at least one part of it. It's called the Chestnut Ridge. And, going back into the 60s and 70s, they've had all kinds of strange reports of everything you can imagine on that ridge that runs, north, kind of northeast to southwest into West Virginia. So it goes for...
Pop, I think me and my dad just watched a documentary about that place, actually, from Small Town Monsters.
Yeah, they did one. Yep, you're right. And I know a couple of the guys, that are in that documentary as well.
They're Beast of Bray Road.
Now, have you ever heard reports of a goat man in Pennsylvania?
No, I haven't heard of any goat man in Pennsylvania. I think the closest that I've heard is there's some in Maryland. But I can't really confirm that. Yeah.
The reason I asked that is because we heard from a source that there is actually in Pennsylvania a group almost like a cult that worships Pan. Are you familiar with Pan?
Yeah, he's one of the deities of made of movies or
that worships Pan, located out of Pennsylvania, and they say that they do it because Pennsylvania is made up of two words that are the names of Pan in like Greek and Roman, Pan and Sylvanus. So
wow.
Pennsylvania. I didn't know if you'd ever heard that or not.
No, that's news to me, but I don't doubt it. I haven't researched the etymology of Pennsylvania. As far as I know, it was like Penn's Woods, maybe, but who knows what it means, and I wouldn't doubt it, that there's people worshiping Pan or who knows what. So
I just thought I'd ask because there's places around the country people claim they see a goat man.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
So now, George, have you ever actually had a sighting or an encounter of any kind?
I've never had a visual sighting, but I have been in places a few different times in a few different places where I've heard things that were close by. A couple times. That very first night, we heard wood knocks. The next night in Salt Fork, we heard like a loud scream that was really close, and like a banging.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't the only one that heard it. My wife heard it too, and we both woke up. And and that was just, there's like a group camp area there at Salt Fork, and it was just right outside of that. So that was the second night. And then since then at Salt Fork, I've heard, one time we went there kind of in the winter time when nobody was there and it was really cold. It was last year. And we've had wood knocks like all around our campsite. We just kind of stayed up all night by the fire. And I heard wood knocks like at, 12, 9, and 4 o'clock, around our positions. That was another time. And another time I was in the Allegheny National Forest, just in the daytime walking. We heard, me and my buddy, who wasn't a Bigfoot person, he's more like, survival and hiking and that kind of stuff. But we heard one, and he looked at me like, what was that? It was that baseball bat kind of crack. And he gave me that look like, what was that? And I told him, I don't know. We'll see. But, so I have heard things, and I've captured audio, too, of, like, calls and, screams that I think might be a Bigfoot or something like that, which I have on,
it's
on
exciting
my website.
When you get something like that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was really exciting. And I'm really glad. And I've heard it, too. The ones that I've captured, some people say it's a coyote or whatever, but I've heard other, sources that sound really close to what I've captured. So yeah, I haven't seen anything, but I have heard things that I think might be a Bigfoot.
Now, are you in more of a mountainous area, or is it just more wooded, or?
Yeah, it's kind of wooded, rolling hills, kind of everywhere you go. And then you hit that Chestnut Ridge area, which is about 30, 35 miles, and that's kind of just a ridge mountain area. It's not mountainous, it's just that one ridge, but yeah, it's more just rolling hills, everywhere you go. So.
Now, isn't there like UFO activity around Chestnut Ridge as well?
Yeah, there have been all kinds of activity there. I don't follow the UFOs as much, but there's a guy. He might have been in that documentary you saw. His name's Stan Gordon, and he's documented UFOs and Bigfoot, and he's written a couple books about it. And I think back in the 70s, there was a rash, of like so many Bigfoot and UFO reports at the same time in the same places, So that was pretty interesting. I've referenced those in that one, in a documentary that I made, which is called Red Chin on the Ridge. It's that same Chestnut Ridge area. But But yeah, there's.
So you've actually got a documentary yourself, then?
Yeah, I'm kind of just getting into videos and that kind of production. So, my buddy's a really good researcher. His name's John Redchun, and he's got his own channel, and he agreed to let me, kind of piece together an interview, and he had a sighting himself, so that was my first kind of bigger production.
So is it somewhere where people could watch that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called, if you type in flat squatch, like flat like a pancake, flat squatch on YouTube, you'll find my channel. And I've got about 5 or 6 videos on there that you can watch.
So anybody listening, make sure to go and check that out. And anybody that has any questions for George, our call-in number is 516-418-5453. And again, that's 516-418-5453. And you can find that on the main page as well.
So, George, if you had a bucket list of places you'd like to go and research, what would those be?
Oh, man. Yeah, I've kind of been thinking about that because, just like you said, I don't know, sometimes I feel like my time might be limited, getting out to such different places, And so, yeah, I think I'd like to go and see some of these more famous or infamous places like the Pacific Northwest. I think, going out to California and seeing the redwoods would be nice. And then
That'd be beautiful.
Just going up the coast to Oregon. And, there's a book that I have, which I'll try to remember the name of it, but the guy, he documents all the research areas that he goes, and he gives you the coordinates, with the GPS, so you could go exactly where he was and where the reports were. So that would be a great guide.
Awesome.
I'd like to go there. And also I'd like to go up to Washington. Like there's a lot of national parks up there that are famous, and just they would have a totally different environment and different forests than what we have, in the eastern woodlands. So I think that would be cool.
Have you ever got a chance to go down to the land between the lakes area and kind of look for the beast of LBL, as it's called?
No, I haven't yet. There's a group called North American Dogman Project, and they have outings there. And I almost went there, maybe last year or the year before, but it's kind of far away. It's about 8 hours. And I thought...
We actually just got a DVD from them.
Did you? Yeah. The only reason I didn't go is I thought, you know what, I can go 10 minutes down the road in Pennsylvania. I don't really need to drive 8 hours to get there. So I actually didn't go, but I want to go there too. You're right. Yeah, it'd be a good place.
It's definitely there's a lot of ground to cover there, that's for sure.
Have you guys been there?
Oh yeah, it's.
Oh wow.
We've been to the alleged kill site before, and we know basically the area where the other one is.
And what was it like there? Was it hard to get to, or off limits, or?
You can get there. It's there's not a huge amount of people know the exact site. There's a lot in the industry, like we're in, or in the cryptid field. But not everybody knows. A lot of people just go there and think they're going to wander up anywhere and see a dogman or something. But the spot it supposedly happened was a very creepy spot. I mean, it's very dark and desolate and isolated. If the stories that they tell about is true, that would be a very lonely place to die.
Oh, wow. I believe it.
It's one of those places... Oh, go ahead, George.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying it's definitely one of those places that if you can have a four-wheel drive, you want to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple other places in the park that we just recently got locations on that supposedly had violent activity as well. We're going to go check those out as soon as we can. And then on the other side of the park, it seems like there's more Bigfoot activity there than there is anything else. So we got a couple of spots we want to go and maybe camp out there and look for Bigfoot.
Have you guys actually gotten activity there, like sounds or tracks or anything?
Found that what I suspect to be a Bigfoot track on the, let's see, what would I say?
I think it was the south side.
Probably not quite, it's not the south side exactly. Let's see. It'd probably be the west side of the park, midway between north and south. Found what I think would be a Bigfoot track. And we went there with some other fellow researchers one night, and we went down this old desolate road to a cemetery. And we got out and we started blowing a dog whistle. And then something started mimicking that whistle and was whistling back at us and kept doing it to get us to blow the whistle back at it. Like it was enjoying hearing that whistle. Every time we would whistle, it would kind of mimic that whistle back.
Wow.
And then over at the kill site, we was there at about 3 o'clock in the morning, started blowing the same dog whistle, and we did get some sort of canine noises. I don't know how to describe it, but they was across the lake and sort of far away, so we couldn't really determine exactly what it was. But there's a lot of people go down there and claim they get tons of activity. So far, we hadn't got anything that I would say is just real definitive.
But it's almost so big that it's kind of hard to get anything, to be honest.
Now, we were driving through the park one night, and this deer run out in the road, and it just was standing there. It wouldn't move, us blowing the horn and everything, and it was more terrified of whatever was behind it than it was of us in the road. It kept looking back behind it, and but whatever it seemed to be trying to get away from, it was more scared of that than the idea of getting run over by the vehicle.
Yeah, that's not normal. When you hear that with other reports too.
Now, real quick, George, a couple of weeks ago, I briefly mentioned to you about our research area that we have. It's over in Indian Mountain part of Tennessee. We got a noise on here tonight. I was wanting to play it for you and just kind of get your thoughts on it. The owners up there, they recorded this, and the recording, I've had to edit it just a little bit because the dog was barking right next to the recorder and has very loud, high pitch. But it was, whatever it was roaring back at the dog, barking back and forth at it.
And then chattering at him, it seemed like.
Okay, yeah.
So listen.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had to edit it just a little bit because the dog was much louder in the original cut. And that's not even the full cut. It kept going for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've heard a video that sounds like that. It's kind of popular. I'd have to find it and send it to you, but it was it had one of those kind of catchy titles, like something about a dogman. But it was like a guy in a camper.
We'd love to hear that if you find it.
Yeah, I think it was a family, like a guy and his wife and their dog, and they were in a camper just kind of near the woods, and it's a video, too, on YouTube. And that's what it sounds like, that long kind of, that kind of sound.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Elijah, that might be why somebody was accusing us of using somebody else's footage. If there's one that sounds like that, that might be what they think it is. They might think we're trying to use that footage.
But yeah, that
it
100%
sounds
was
just like that.
Yeah, we get lots of stuff like that out of our research area. We've even got what we think is a Bigfoot imitating a donkey out there, man. It get right behind you, right behind your tent, and make that noise. There used to be a donkey lived way up the front of the property, and this thing got to where it would imitate that donkey. It would holler at you and just wander around your camp making donkey noises. One night it was doing it and got strangled while it was trying to make the noise and almost started coughing.
Yeah, I mentioned that one to you. I still got to find that one, and I was almost lost to history.
Well, you guys have that one recorded, the donkey.
Yeah, well, we got several of them making the donkey noise, but the one where it got strangled, we have it somewhere. We just got so many different files, we can't seem to find it.
We got a bunch of different old computers to go through, so.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that one. That'd be great.
That work. Yeah, we have a friend named Alex. He's from Georgia. He had a recording one time, man. He sent me a copy of it, and I hate that we've lost it. But he had put like peanut butter on these leaves or something, and put it up real high in a tree, and you could hear something come walking up to the tree and start eating the peanut butter, and it got strangled on the peanut butter, and it sounded like an old man coughing and gagging, just real deep-throated. And that went on, and I would give anything if I could find that recording or get back a hold of Alex and if he's still got another copy of it.
Dang, I didn't.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love to hear that one. I actually think I know who you're talking about. I think I'm friends with him. And I think he's friends with the guy that I did the documentary about, John Redchun. It's probably the same guy, I'd bet.
If you know him, see if he's got a copy of that, and you'll just be blown out of the water by that recording.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
But yeah, well, do you have any big outings planned anytime soon, or?
I'm trying to kind of plan things for this summer. You know, I have some ideas. I'm kind of tentative. I haven't put too many things in place because, number one, I think I'm going to get laid off this year, and number two,
that's terrible.
Yeah,
we got laid off in November and just now went back recently.
Oh, I'm glad you found something. I know it's kind of a nerve-wracking
What
time.
kind of work you do?
I'm in IT, so I do like computers and processes and that kind of stuff. But
he's a smart guy.
I'm sure it'll translate into something. You just get used to working at the same place for so long. Throws everything upside down. So that's just one thing. And then the other thing, I have, I don't know if you guys know this, but I have Lyme disease. And it just kind of comes and goes. And I'm just getting over a real bad bout of it right now. It's like I'll just lose total functionality in my leg or my arm. So I'll be.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, it sucks. But I'm feeling good now, but, a couple weeks at a time, you'll just be out of commission, So.
A good friend of mine's got that really bad, and she has lots of issues with it. Them ticks are rough. Elijah and I, we were out in the woods for several days, and we got in a huge amount of ticks. When I got home, I had close to 700 ticks on me. And
wow.
Between 300 and 700, and Elijah had between 1,000 and 1,500 on him. And it was so bad. He ended up getting some kind of a disorder from the ticks, where if he eats any red meat, he has allergic reactions. We got to take him straight to the hospital.
Yeah, you sounds like you probably have Lyme disease. It's just in the early stages. But yeah, I've heard that.
Dang. Yeah, I sure miss burgers.
It's really tricky, you got to watch what you eat, the worse it gets, so keep an eye on it. I'd say I'm still figuring
out what I can and can't eat too. Still want to try deer at some time, see how that goes. Lamb.
Yeah, just kind of
any
narrow
kind
things
of red
down.
meat probably going to send you to the hospital.
Yeah, it's bad, you know, and we're guys like us, you know, we're always at or near the woods, or you know, or anywhere with deer. Really, you could get it, but I advise people to be really.
It makes us vulnerable.
Yep.
It's terrible. When I got home, my wife had to stand me in the bathtub and took a pot scrubber to scrub the ticks off of me.
So you got bit by the ticks too?
Yeah, they were literally on me. These were mostly little small ticks.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were everywhere. We looked like we had smallpox.
Oh my goodness.
It was so bad. It's so bad you could literally feel them writhing in your socks. You'd look at your jacket sleeve and just a horde of them coming up the arm.
It's like a bad movie.
We had we had a friend with us who literally freaked out and started taking her coat off and ran out of the woods. It was that bad.
I don't think they ever got on her skin. She ran straight out of the woods into a friend's house and stripped down and borrowed clothes, and she wasn't come back out.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys, you know, ever run into any weird stuff or need any advice, let me know. I've been researching it for about 4 or 5 years, just like I have with Bigfoot and all that. So,
absolutely.
So is there no cure for Lyme's disease?
Sorry, excuse me. Can you say that again?
Is there no cure for Lyme's disease? Nothing you can do for it, really?
I mean, there's things you can do, but there's not really a cure, you know. Like the first time you get it, you take the antibiotics, and that usually gets rid of it. But what I think happens is, if you know, I've gotten bit multiple times, like each year, again and again, and you just kind of build up enough immunity to fight it off, and then you kind of get better. But then it comes back, you know. So it never really goes away. But if your immune system gets weaker, then it'll come back. You know. Plus, you can get all these other co-infections because your immune system is weakened from the initial one. So, you know, it turns into all these other weird things. So, yeah, it sucks.
Terrible. George, is the page that you administer, or is that your page, or do you just man it for someone? The BDIL?
Yeah, that's my page. I created it. I tried to put a little interesting spin on it, you know, where I created a kind of a library where I have you know, memorable videos, you know, because we get into these debates with people, you know, that don't believe and have the same questions over and over. So, like, well, I'll just create, you know, a section where I have hundreds of videos that people can just go watch, and you know, because a lot of these groups, you know, there's a lot of good discussions, but you know, I'm an IT guy, and I'm always looking to search for things that I saw before. So if I want to search a library, you know, now I can do it in my own section. So that's kind of what I did. I have, you know, audio in there. I have movies. I have video. You know, and it's not just my stuff. You know, I collect it kind of from all over. So I have a whole section of maps. So you could go to Indiana, you know, Wisconsin, Oregon. Another kind of thing that I'm known for doing in the Bigfoot world is I created a Pennsylvania Bigfoot map of all the reports, because I used to be part of a group called Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society, and they had hundreds of reports, so I kind of created a database, and I mapped out all the ones that I could, you know, in Pennsylvania. So I've got a map of Pennsylvania Bigfoot reports. There's over, you know, about 450 reports. So anytime something comes in, you know, you can go see what the history of the area is, and you know, just get a quick update. You know, and
I kind of love that concept.
Yeah, and you know, I'm trying to, you know, do things that'll help other people too. You know, because we can all share the information. So it's a free public group, and you know, no charge. I just kind of say, you know, I keep the dialogue current with the latest videos or, you know, discussion and things like that. My group's I'm pretty open-minded about things. Like I said, I kind of started with UFOs and ghosts, and to me, there's a lot of overlap, and people get upset. But in our group, you can kind of talk about whatever, as long as you're not rude. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, boy, sometimes it's like trying to wrangle children in a group like that because everybody's so mean to each other at times.
Right. Yeah, I try to just, set the example for other people. I'm not mean to anybody, and I try to be fair, So, but you're right, it is hard at times. But our group runs pretty good. I mean, you guys are both in there. I don't know how often you see it. It runs pretty good, I think.
Yeah, it does. I don't ever see any real controversial things going on. But you go to some pages, man, and they are just fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Tear each other apart.
Nobody's an expert in this field. We're all learning right now.
Right. But yeah, I created that group. I think we have 1,000 members now, and it's running pretty good. And it's created a lot of opportunities. I've met a lot of people from Facebook Bigfoot stuff, so who knows? I might come down, hang out with you guys somewhere sometime, and
Oh, we'd love that.
Yeah. So I'm
let me ask you this: in the reports you get a Bigfoot up there in Pennsylvania, what are the descriptions? Because I know a lot of times here in Tennessee in the South, these things will be incredibly tall, large, muscular, but they'll be kind of lanky and slender, like almost like they're thinner than, say, the big muscular ones in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate for what most people see. Kind of tall, thin, not the huge 4 to 5 foot shoulder ones, but maybe the younger teenager type ones, that are kind of just lean. Maybe those are the ones that are seen the most. It's interesting too. I created that map of the Pennsylvania Bigfoot reports, but I've also started to kind of create statistics in a database of some of the reports, and it's interesting. Like somebody says, what's the most common color? Well, of the ones that I've seen, brown, either brown, dark brown, reddish brown is definitely the most prevalent color. Black, probably the second, maybe 20% black, but most of them are brown, and then tall and thin, like you said. But I publish that kind of stuff, just as little statistics. Maybe I think I have a few other statistics, like what activities people were doing when they saw it. Were they in a car? Were they inside or outside, or just hunting? Or I have breakdowns, things like that, and also have some other ones as well that I can't think of right this minute, but you get the idea. Just because, we're always saying, well, I think it's this one, and I think it's that one. So I think it's nice to just actually get the data and see what is actually being reported, so we know. Have a little bit more education.
Is there a difference in the dogman reports that you get in appearance of them?
Yeah, I'd say the ones that, I don't get too many. Most of the dogman stuff that I get is what other people get, the same stuff you would hear. But I would say in Pennsylvania, most of them are the kind of canine variant, with the canine type legs, and not the ones with the human type legs that look more like a wolf or a dog. I'd say that's probably the more common one seen in Pennsylvania.
I do believe my dad just got disconnected. Let's see, let me try to dial him in real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, our signal's a little hit or miss around here.
Yeah, same for me.
So let's see. In fact, it's actually been dropping calls for me all night. I keep having to sign back in on here.
Mhm.
Yeah, we live off down in a holler, so it's kind of kind of tough at times, depending on the weather.
Are you guys in different locations?
No, we're in the same location, but we live down in a holler. I'm in another part of the house. Well, right now I'm in here so he can try to get my phone working again.
Ah, okay.
And I think we just got to work again.
Yeah, there we go. I appreciate you, son.
No problem. Y'all for bearing with us.
So, George, how's your wife feel about you being into the Bigfoot field? She still excited about it after that first night on your honeymoon?
She still pays attention, you know, to what's going on. You know, not hardcore probably like we are, but you know, she'll still put on the shows like Sasquatch Chronicles or Dogman Encounters. She likes listening to the shows and puts them on, and she likes going out camping and stuff, you know. And sometimes some of the stuff.
She's like a keeper.
Yeah, she likes to go camping, and she doesn't really like to talk about, you know, the scary stuff that might be going on right when you're there. But you know, who does? You just most of the time nothing happens. You just hear stuff, and it's all safe. So yeah, so she doesn't mind. She's into it.
Very nice. George, have you seen that one video? It may be already on your website of the two boys. I believe it's in not North Carolina, but New York, who are out like collecting snails or something, and they see something near a tree. Are you familiar with that video?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It's at night, and they have flashlights, and they're kind of walking a little bit. They're near a tent, and they walk, and real quick they see something behind a tree, and then they run. Yeah, go like back away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I posted that one.
Have you heard
I remember.
anything about the validity of that thing? Because whatever's behind that tree, that thing's scary looking.
Yeah, I'm with you on that assessment, you know, because if it, you know, there's a guy he has a famous channel, and, you know, people posted it, and he said it was fake, you know, it was kids acting. But, you know, people that make fake videos and put on hoaxes, you know, they kind of want their stuff to be seen, and they want it to get attention. You know, the critter in that video, you could only see it for less than a half a second, and you had to like spin it sideways, you know, to even get a look at it, and put it in slow motion. So, and it didn't look like they were acting.
Boys, they didn't try to post that anywhere. They just posted on their regular channel with other videos of just regular stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, it wasn't anything special. There was no special production. You know, it looked real to me, and I think a lot of these videos look real to me. But everybody, you know, you can kind of, I get a sense of what people think looking at the thumbs up or thumbs down. You know, if it's above 50%, I think those ones are probably legit. And I think that one that you're talking about is, you know, I think it's something. You know, I don't think that's fake. I don't know if it's a dog man.
It looks like a real biological creature to me. Because you can almost see its teeth.
Yeah. And I've asked other people in the group, you know, what they thought. And, you know, some people say, that's not a dog man, you know. But I mean, how many of these people have actually seen a dog man? You know, I think a lot of people just say whatever. You know, there might be young, little, tiny dog men, you know, that are 2 months old or 6 months old, you know, versus ones that are 10 feet tall and fully grown. So
yeah,
it looked like something to me. Yeah.
Well, if you take a real close look at that video, it looked like it's pretty tall against that tree, you know, because when it spun, that thing was probably 5, 6, 7 feet off the ground.
Mhm. Oh, definitely. You could see its teeth, its fingers, eyes. It's a really, really good look. Usually, I think that's one of the better ones, you know, of the Dogman type picture or video. There's hardly any good ones.
Yeah, I don't really know of any other dogman videos that show up besides that. I think there's one video, supposedly it's like outside somebody's house and it's dark and you can kind of see the shape of something, maybe eyes glowing or something.
Yeah, there's not too many. There's that one that people talk about that it's kind of like I don't know if it's the Patterson-Gimlin film of Dogman, but it's called the Gable film. You know, people...
Oh, that thing, yeah.
Yeah, half say it's fake, half say it's real. You know, I don't know, but...
I mean, I've seen a guy claim that he's the one that hoaxed it and kind of showed how he did. Have you ever seen the footage of that on Monster Quest where that guy said that he done it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's always somebody that says, you know, I did it. You know, just like Patterson-Gimlin, you know, that one guy, Bob Hieronymus, he said that he wore the suit and he, you know, so they have a whole production to kind of discredit. I mean, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's just interesting to me.
So then there's still people say that that one footage up there is real.
Gable footage?
Yeah, the Gable footage.
Yeah, who knows? You know, it's tough to say. When somebody puts in that much money in production to say that it's not real, I mean, why would you do that, you know? That's kind of...
Yeah.
Throws up a red flag to me, but I'm suspicious of everything.
Now, there's another interesting video. There's another interesting video recently. Did you happen to see that one of it's like a construction site, and I think it was Canada maybe, but you could see a Bigfoot throwing like a 12-foot tree or something like that?
Yeah, I did see that one. It's kind of like across a clearing, and it just kind of takes a couple steps and launches this, like a pole vault kind of.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting and authentic too. I thought that was real.
I thought that one was pretty interesting.
That'd be hard to fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually put that one in the library of our BDIL group. If anybody wants to see that, they could go to the Bigfoot and Dogman Info Library on Facebook. You could join the group and check out the files section. I have that video in there.
Do you have an actual website?
Yeah. I mean, if you go to Facebook and just type in Bigfoot and Dogman Info Library, it'll come up. You know, Facebook has its own weird website that's not easy to remember. But yeah, any popular videos like we're talking about, like I put them all in there so people can find them easy.
Very good. Well, George, I'm glad you decided to come on the show tonight. You know, we see you online a lot, and you just don't get a chance to talk to people very often, you know, on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm glad.
My dog goes crazy every week when we're doing a show.
Yeah, he wants to be heard. But yeah, I'm glad you guys had me on. You know, it's glad we got a chance to talk. I know you guys are doing some good things with your channel and your videos. You know, I've been watching them, and I think you guys are doing a really good job. And
well, I appreciate that. We're having a lot of fun doing it. You know, we're trying to go around and maybe report on some of the more obscure things a lot of people have never had a chance to hear about, and hit on some of the big ones too. But yeah, we're really enjoying what we do right now.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, you know, and I watch a lot of these shows, and I'm not just pulling your leg, you know. I thought it was very thorough and, you know, well documented, and people should definitely check out your channel. And, you know, you guys are more than welcome. Every time you get new things, you know, post them in my group. I encourage people to learn about the history of your area and your research. Good stuff, guys.
Well, we absolutely appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope to start branching out further and further. You know, it's been, well, since we was laid off, it's easier to do the things close by us first, and then we're going to start kind of spreading out further and further as we go.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people have the misconception that you need to go, you know, hours away or far to find this kind of stuff. But, I mean, what I've found just doing this map project, you know, there's stuff happening all around where I live, you know, within 10, 20 miles. So you might not have to go that far. Just have to maybe stay out overnight and go to the right places to get any kind of action. I think
that
these things are a lot.
True, man.
Yeah.
A lot more prevalent than people think.
Definitely. And I think, you know, I can see over time with this map, like, you know, there's reports that are 100 years old that are in the same place as ones, you know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Like, they're in the exact same place. So, you know, these things, maybe they're kind of creatures of habit, you know, and stay in the same areas. You know, people think, oh, you know, some people get hung up on, you know, well, they're waiting for the latest report to come in, and then they'll go out to a spot. You know, I don't think you really have to do that. I think you can just find a good spot, you know, look for evidence in the daytime, tree structures, prints or whatever, and just go there consistently over time.
That's
you know,
true.
Wait around for things.
No, I mean, you get out there and look, you'll find there's more there. I mean, but there's a lot of people, when they find out that you're into Bigfoot, Dogman, things of that nature, they'll be like, are you serious? You really think that there's a Bigfoot here or there, you know? And I'm like, man, it's not like it's Santa Claus or something like that. It's not like there's supposed to be just one. There's multiple of these things. There's not just one making the tour around the United States.
Right. Yeah, it's a big joke, everyone. Isn't it funny, like, you know, everyone's hung up on Santa Claus is fake, and, you know, or they tell you that it's real, and Easter Bunny and all this crap, and then they ridicule Bigfoot all the time in the news. But then that's the one thing that is real, and people see it all the time. And yet,
yeah, but they act like
thinks
there's only one there, like there's only one Bigfoot, you know, and maybe, how'd you see him? He's supposed to be so-and-so.
Right.
There's multiples of these things.
They're everywhere, and that shows you how successful that the news is and the media is for making people think that, okay, maybe there is Bigfoot, but there's just that one. You know, people, they don't really know that they're all over the place in all these states, everywhere. So.
Yeah, and I've always felt like the media and the government and corporations don't want a Bigfoot to ever be found, because the timber industry is just a juggernaut of money making, you know. And if you ever find out and prove that there is Bigfoot, that's probably going to take a big bite out of the timber industry.
It'll become a protected, endangered species.
Yeah, I mean, I think it runs really deep. You know, it goes into all these areas. You know, into, you know, the timber industry, the tourism industry. You know, hikers and all that stuff. And, you know, there's in some countries, like, you know, near the rainforests and India and other places, like, there's indigenous people that live in these areas, and, you know, they have rights, or they don't, you know, their rights get infringed. You know, can you imagine if there's like thousands, you know, population of thousands of these things, you know, that are maybe part human in some way, you know, that are just in the woods? You know, can you imagine what a nightmare that would be for the government to have to suddenly acknowledge that? You know, it just sounds so.
Well, imagine a lot of people's property wouldn't be a lot of people's property. It'd be owned by somebody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, if these people have lived there for centuries, you know, and there's some part of them that's human, well, then that's their land.
Right, and that's never going to come out. That's never going to happen, at least not the way things currently are. That's what I think.
It almost become like eminent domain. They just take over sections of property.
Right. And that's probably why they get so mad half the time. You know, the people are, you know, in the woods. They probably feel like, hey, that's where we live, and you guys are walking in our backyard. You know.
Right.
But.
Yeah, I wouldn't want people wandering through my living room either.
Right. Can you imagine? I have a couple acres here. I can't imagine if there was people walking right on the edge of my property, kind of making noise and just hanging out, I'd go right over there and, hey, what are you guys doing? And that's probably what they do sometimes, just watching and seeing what's going on.
I notice we get a lot more activity if we go out in the woods instead of beating on trees and stuff like that and whooping and hollering. If we'll go out and just sit and build a fire, it's like it almost brings these things close to you, like they're curious. They want to come watch and see what you're doing. You ever found any of that to be true?
Yeah, that's usually my plan when I go out. It might not be right at my house like you guys have, but when I go to a place, I like to just kind of stay in camp sometimes and hang out by the fire, and I've had, wood knocks and other stuff happen, just from doing that exact thing, because it's like you're saying, hey, we're here and, come check us out, and they can see us, they can watch us, you know how it is if you're in the woods and watching something at night. I mean, if there's a light there, it just lights it up, and you're kind of saying, hey, I'm not being aggressive, we're just passively here, and come check us out. I think that's
and just being a small bonfire, the light doesn't cast real far. They can come in fairly close and just sit and watch.
Yeah, and especially if if it's maybe the same ones, the same group, they kind of know your pattern. This is what they usually do, and they kind of get used to it. Could be a good way to maybe interact with these things. But you guys, so you have them really close to where you live. Is that what you're saying?
We actually have had some stuff on this property, but a lot of times, we in our research area, we go and we just set up out there and just kind of hang out, and you'll get these things coming up real close, try and get your attention, whooping, and they'll holler, and
they'll tree knock, things howling in the distance.
But George, we're down to the last few seconds of the show. Is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before we go?
Oh, I just want to, thank you guys for having me on, and anybody's welcome to check out my group on Facebook, Bigfoot Dogman Info Library, or you can check me out on YouTube. Flat Squatch is the name of my channel. So
and it is a very good Facebook group. So if you're interested, I would definitely join. Coming up, I think on the 31st of this month, we're going to have Lisa Lycan X as our guest. We're going to have a lady researcher on. We're kind of excited about that. We've not had a lady in a while, so we're excited to have her coming on with us.
Yeah, she's got.
I hope you'll come back sometime.
Yeah, I'll come back on anytime, guys.
All right,
brother. Thank you.
Well, Elijah, I guess we better get off of here. Until next time, I just want to tell everybody to stay groovy and enjoy your week.
Stay groovy, baby.